Tattoo artists, what was your worst mistake, and how did the client react? Isa Bump said. I had a client who decided he wanted lettering on his forearms, sayings in Greek and Hebrew. He doesn't speak either language, but he had one of his friends double-check the spelling before he sent the references to me. Came in, we did the tattoos, pretty simple appointment. Fast forward to a couple weeks later. I get a message from my client about the tattoo that was done in Hebrew. He owns a small construction restoration company and has a few Israeli guys who work for him. Apparently, they were giving him a lot of sass for his Hebrew tattoo. He originally thought they were just messing with him because it was spelled wrong. The font he had chosen off a quick Google search essentially changed a couple of the letters, kind of like the difference between an F and a T, making it a completely different word. We ended up being able to fix it pretty easily and had a good laugh about it, but definitely beware when you're getting tattoos in a language you and your artist don't speak. Drew Swake said. Apprentice here. Nothing major but bad karma on one tattoo from the get-go that absolutely floored my confidence for a bit. Only recently did my first ever small tattoo on a client. Had to do a small range of flash ideas that I felt comfortable with. Had my mentor, who judging by some other stories, I'm very lucky to have. He's a sound dude, discuss with me beforehand my needle choices, placement technique, usual bits and was ready to go. Every felt ready. Midway through, my machine goes. It's brand new. My only one. Managed to sort it without much fuss. In doing so, in my panic, put the wrong needle size in the machine when it came to replacing it with a fresh one. Botched a line when I realize almost immediately the size difference. Change again, nerves are shot, back at it. Brand new foot pedal breaks. Replace it with an old one from my mentor. It breaks too. Power pack dies. That was brand new too. Panic. Spill my ink? Practically had a meltdown in my brain about what has happened. Carried on with another artist's equipment. Apologizing as calmly as I can to my client. Mentor calmed my nerves and I ended up pulling it out the bag and doing a job I was happy with somehow, but most importantly, the client loved it. Anyway, not a crazy bad story, but as an apprentice who's also a fairly confident dude, I have never felt so absolutely floored in my life. Tattooing someone is monumentally stressful when all doesn't go to plan. I can't wait to do more in progress, but frick me what a time for stuff to happen. My mentor helped me sort all my gear afterward and was super cool. Sat with me and said something like, well, of all the times and all the things that could have gone wrong, that was the absolutely perfect one for them. Nerve-wracking stuff. Sage Studios said. I watched my boss turn a stylized Tierney, mistress's name, into Diane, wife's name, once. I'd never believe it if I didn't see it with my eyes. Carmelia's said. When I started tattooing I was working at an awful studio that would often give me works that didn't fit my style in any way, very fine line works which I wasn't very good at. The mistakes I made were usually crooked tattoos or going too deep, and instead of actual helping me the owners either would yell at me later, force me to tell clients I was more experienced than I actually am, and got upset that I asked too many questions. Eventually, they just stopped giving me work altogether. Sadly, every once in a while, they give my number to unhappy clients that I tattooed at that time, and I still get calls asking me for compensation. I know it's also my fault for those things, but they really took no responsibility. These days I have my own small one-person studio. I have nothing but sweet and satisfied clients, and ironically I do a lot of fine line tattoos which I used to hate at that studio. But if you want something specific, while I was in the studio some girl wanted a cursive tattoo that was extremely tiny. It was extremely small and thin, and when I finished it looked good, but when it healed a lot of the letters spread and mashed up together, and because she barely had any tattoos it was very noticeable. I gave her money back, even though she demanded me to pay for tattoo removal. And yes, she signed a contract beforehand, but the studio told me it protected only them and not me. I read thoroughly and fortunately realized she had no case against me, so she couldn't sue. In general today I recommend people to steer clear of that place, disgusting money grabber arseholes. They do treat other tattoo artists who work for them like crap.